there's just places like, I mean, I've been all over.
Oh my gosh, you
Sarah?
kids can go
Sarah?
up and down the
Anyone signed up?
down into the
Comments? Couple comments?
school.
I would really like to.
Oh yeah, you kidding? That many people?
Well, I know we got quite a few proclamations. I was, okay.
Which is half as many as last time?
Okay.
Nothing going into that very trained up deal.
Down there,
Yeah.
you know, caves, and they got elk, down there and stuff. Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
used to take the kids down there canoeing
Oh, is that
when
right?
they were young.
Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, great water,
No, that's cool.
great water. It'll be fun. But, I've never seen that.
Thank you.
Oh, brother.
That's
Yeah, I
one place
honestly,
I just would like to see.
like,
So
I'm reaching out to say, hey, is there anything
like to
to update
go
me
to
with if you
Canada
can't take
and
it?
take a
Yeah,
tour.
it's, yeah,
Just take it. Car go across.
yeah.
Just go.
No, it's cool.
It's a lot, brother.
I had black on. I took it on, so I didn't.
Oh, yeah, you did. You
Didn't match
I
everybody.
wanna
I
respond.
took mine off, so I didn't match it. It
That's
was.
hilarious.
It's warm in here.
Are you
anyway.
ready?
Thank you, though.
Welcome to your city commission meeting. Please turn off or silence all cell phones during the meeting. Meetings are televised every day on Channel 2 at 6 p.m. and midnight and available for your viewing on YouTube. I'll call this meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance and the silent meditation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've got quite a few proclamations tonight, so I'll head on down to the podium. Who's up first, Sarah?
National.
Over here.
Yeah.
National Child Abuse Prevention. All right, proclamation for National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas our children are most vulnerable resources and will shape the future of our communications. And whereas child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims and abuse. And whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement, agencies, and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now, therefore, I, Holly Pittman, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, hereby proclaim April 2025 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Can you clap for that?
Thank you. My name is Allison Burton. I'm the volunteer recruiter for CASA here in Leavenworth. We greatly appreciate your support. We service over 200 kids in Leavenworth and Atchison County every year, and that's 200 too many. If you see blue pinwheels in our town, in Atchison, in Leavenworth and Atchison counties, the blue pinwheel is a sign of National Child Abuse Prevention Month. So I had to remove the ones outside today so they could mow, but they will be back tomorrow. So if anybody wants a display of blue pinwheels or a yard sign, please come find me at my office. We're right across from Candle Queen Candles. Thank you. How we're going to end Child Abuse Prevention Month? Are you talking about in May? Oh, we have, I was like, well, I'm tired, y'all. I'm so sorry. On May the 2nd, we have our Night at the Races, which is our largest fundraiser of the year. It is at Deer Ridge Estates in Tonganoxie this year. So if you are interested in tickets or sponsorships, please let me know. Thank you.
So, whereas sexual violence is a widespread, preventable public health problem, and the problem crosses all economic, racial, gender, educational, religious, and social barriers. And whereas sexual violence in any sexual act that is perpetrated against someone's will, which includes sexual assault, rape, unwanted touching, threatening sexual violence, and verbal sexual harassment, all types of sexual violence involve victims who do not consent, are unavailable to consent, or refuse to allow the act, and where over half of women and nearly 1 in 3 men experience some form of contact sexual violence in their lifetimes, and whereas one incident of rape is reported to Kansas law enforcement every 7 hours, 19 minutes, 6 seconds, and over 5,300 people receive services for sexual assault from Kansas victim advocacy organizations each year. And whereas these statistics do not represent the true prevalence of sexual violence due to unreporting, and whereas victims should have help to find the compassion, comfort, and healing they need with access to medical and legal services, counseling, transitional housing so that they can, and whereas it is important we must strive to create strong, connected communities that take care of one another and make decisions to ensure the safety and well-being of others to end sexual violence, and whereas we encourage victims to seek free and confidential assistance from the Alliance Against Family Violence Hotline, which is 913-675-7217. Now, therefore, I, Holly Pittman, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, hereby proclaim April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Those are some alarming statistics.
Again, we want to say thank you. My name is Christy Reed. I'm the shelter manager there. I know last year when we received this, we did not have an executive director at that point, so I wanted to introduce Elena Crenshaw. She is our executive director.
Welcome.
Hi, of course, I'm Elena Crenshaw, and thank you, Christy. And we just wanted to let y'all know that in the last year, we have serviced 175 either individuals or families with direct services or in shelter. We are, now that we have a solid management team, we are looking forward to pushing our services further out into the community to further help with prevention and awareness for all of these domestic violence and sexual assault crimes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Matt, you're next. Are you ready? You guys just a week, not a month, huh?
Correct.
Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. Whereas libraries serve as a vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and a lifetime of learning. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of their background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. Whereas libraries nurture young minds through story time, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and the love of learning that lasts a lifetime. And whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, I, Holly Pittman, Mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 6th through 12th as National Library Week. Woohoo!
Thank you, Mayor Pittman, and also city commissioners. The relationship between the city and the library has been around since 1896. First library, of course, was 1902. We've grown. We serve a larger community. We serve it with many, many more services. And I encourage you to stay abreast with all of the programs that we have coming up, not only this month, but throughout summer. Our children's programs are the highlight and really the focus of most of our programming activities. And we have some really exciting things coming up. So I'd like to see you at the library. And again, thank you very much.
Chief, are you next? It's National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. whereas emergencies that require police, fire, or emergency medical services can occur at any time, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property, and whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of the information obtained from citizens who telephone the Leavenworth Emergency Communications Center, and whereas public safety telecommunications are the first and the most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services, and whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators at the Leavenworth Police Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, I, Holly Pittman, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim April 13th through 19th National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, on behalf of the 10 dispatchers that the city employs, they answer somewhere around 70,000 phone calls every year in dispatch. They dispatch 3,000 fire calls and about 2,200 police calls every year. They're the unsung heroes of the public safety community, and appreciate your pause. But much more importantly, when you call me and ask me why there's 3 police cars somewhere and what's going on, I call them and they tell me, and that's what I tell you, and that's where we get all our information from. So very valuable. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll begin with old business. I just need a motion to approve minutes from the March 25th, 2025 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second. All right, motion's been made and seconded. I'll begin voting with Commissioner Hingla.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes. New business. Oh, so we won't be able to see that, we'll just hear it?
You'll be able to hear it.
Okay. All right, we'll begin with public comment. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. In the interest of time, we do ask that groups wishing to speak limit their public comment to 1 presenter. This is the opportunity for the City Commission to hear the thoughts of the public prior to conducting official city business. The Mayor, City Commission, and City staff have been asked not to respond to those giving public comment, and no action will be taken by the Commission on public comment items. The Mayor may direct staff to follow up with specific individuals after the meeting. When speaking, please state your name and your address. A sign-up sheet will be provided in the Commission chambers for anyone wishing to speak. Sarah, do we have people signed up tonight?
do.
All right.
First up is Richard Pfeiffer.
Hi, Richard.
Good evening.
Good
I'm
evening.
Richard Pfeiffer. I'm the Assistant Warden at Core Civic Midwest. I would like to, first of all, I hope you're all well. Thank you for what you do tonight. There were a lot of proclamations. I used to work with CASA and the police departments, and it was nice to come in here and hear it. I'm returning back to the facility. I was there in 2023 and just started back there. And Core Civic is one that's provided a lot of jobs and opportunities for Leavenworth. And I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons I transferred back here, I love the town of Leavenworth. It's part of who I am, and it's where I wanted to return to. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up we have Rick Hamilton.
Hi, Rick.
Howdy, my name's Rick. I live at 202 Fawn Valley Street. In a climate of bowed heads and bent knees, I fully expected this city commission to issue a non-binding resolution and then roll over. I was so proud last week to find out that I was wrong. To find out there's still some steel in American bones. I'm looking forward to watching the status conference on the 23rd at 9 a.m. in Topeka Courtroom 401 and the hearings that'll follow. Give 'em hell.
All right, next up is Sister Vicki Perkins.
My name is Sister Vicki Perkins, and I live at 517 Nipper Lane as of a week ago. Anyway, I am here simply to say thank you for taking the stand you took on the Core Civic project. in the name of, I'm doing it as a sister of charity, and it's many people in Leavenworth who really do appreciate the work you have done. And I want to tell you, I think this is the first time I've ever come to you not asking for something, just saying thank you.
Thank you, sister.
Next up is Tammy Reed.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Reed. I've lived in Leavenworth County my entire life. I just want to go on record showing my support for Core Civic. I've worked in corrections for 36 years, the state level and the private sector. I still have family that work in corrections. I believe that all the facilities have experienced the same challenges as Core Civic has. Core Civic has operated in this community for 30 plus years, and I've worked there for 24 years. And I found that they have been supportive in this community, and they are very supportive in their staff also. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next up is Carla Wiegers.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. It's Carla Wiegers. I'm at 530 Bittersweet in Lansing. My topic was just kind of youth empowerment and youth mentorship. I will say that it was about a year ago now, in April of 2024, that Ed Hagula, a fellow Rotarian, brought to me that Mr. Wilson and also Ms. Pittman were starting a Big Brothers Big Sisters program. And I was so excited about that. And I invited people to come and speak to Rotary, and I said, sign me up. And so I began that process. I've been a 16-year Girl Scout leader. We've started a scholarship for the greater Kansas City area. So I'm very dedicated to youth and youth development and youth leadership, as many of you are. I feel like something just dropped as far as the Big Brothers Big Sisters program in our city, in our Leavenworth County area. And I just want to find out. I put in my application in August. I frantically, the references finished their work and sent it back to who it needed to go to. But I just didn't hear anything for about 5 months. I don't know how many people are on the waiting list ahead of me as far as mentor and mentee matches. I still want to do this. I feel like I have the time, and kind of when you commit something and fill in the application, you're kind of building that time in your life. You're saying, hey, I'm going to have this amount of time and effort to volunteer to work with youth and their development. I will also say that there's a certain amount of trust in the digital footprint that you're putting out there too, because there is a background check done. I knew nothing would be wrong, but it's just, you're putting your social security, you're putting your driver's license and those kind of things. So the volunteers in the mentor position are really giving a lot, even up front, before they may be selected. I've seen multiple fundraisers for Big Brothers and Big Sisters in the fall timeframe, and I just don't know what those funds are spent on. It could be those background checks, and I get that. Questions I would have is, I think Big Brothers and Big Sisters, as we heard from the proclamations, those are the kind of programs that can change that can really change the trajectory of lives and relationships between adults and kids, and the intergenerational support that we give to our children and our youth. So I would say I love the concept. I hope it's still around. I'm more than willing to be a mentor to a mentee. And I'm still wondering how many people are in the queue awaiting matches like me. And when I sign up to volunteer, our time is our most precious commodity, even more than money, even more than fundraising. So I'm anxious to start contributing in this way. So I'm just looking forward to the opportunity, and I hope I hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
All right, we have Mr. William Rogers.
William Rogers, 73rd Nectar, KCK. I was asked to come here tonight by a couple of people and myself, but Levering, Sherry Rich, myself, and all the other folks that was here a couple of weeks ago, they wanted me to come and say thank you to you guys just for listening. They really appreciated the staff and everyone here. I do want to say, a little bit amusing tonight because a couple people that spoke earlier was there when Levering got attacked, and none of them cared to reach out to her since. But they care so much about Core Civic. Thank you.
And last up is Reverend Tim Gray.
Evening. My name is Tim Gray. I am the pastor at First Presbyterian Church just up the street. I'm here on behalf of myself and several of my members. We want to thank you for your effort in continuing the conversation with Core Civic. We appreciate your time, your energy in extending that out with another partner in our community. Want to note that I am actually new here in Leavenworth. I've been here for about a year and a quarter, and one of the things I've learned about Leavenworth, about the character, the values of this city, is that we are built upon supporting the military, making sure that we are caring for our leaders, making sure that those who are under their leadership are cared for and kept safe. The other part of Leavenworth is for making sure that we are correcting, that we are rehabilitating. And I appreciate that. And so even as the lawsuit is continuing on, I want to encourage us all to be thinking about not only what is Core Civic providing for the community in terms of economics, but also making sure that we keep our employees, our future possible employees, safe, but also those who are detained, those who are kept in those facilities, that we are also responsible for our neighbors no matter where we are. So thank you. I appreciate your work. Continue to follow all your efforts.
Thank you.
That is all.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
Mayor, do you want to put the clock down on?
No, it's okay. I don't notice it. Doesn't block my view. Okay. New business, mayor's appointments. Let me ask, would the commission feel more comfortable? There's several of them, 1, 2, 3, and then there's the fourth one, we have several people. Would you feel comfortable separating them out, or are you okay doing them all as one?
I'm okay with either way. Okay.
You're fine? Okay. Then I'll go ahead and read this. I, Mayor Pittman, move to appoint to the Convention and Tourism Committee John P. Hutchison to an unexpired term, January 31st, 2027. Appoint to the Leavenworth Planning Commission Dennis Hund to the unexpired term ending May 1st, 2027. Reappoint the Leavenworth Preservation Commission Kenneth Bateman and Sherry Hines Whitson to terms ending May 1st, 2028. Appoint to the Library Board Rebecca Kellogg to the unexpired term ending April 30th, 2028, and appoint Melissa Davies and Aaron Sack to the terms ending April 30th, 2029. It does require a second by the... Second. All right, motion's been made and second. I'll begin voting with Commissioner Martin.
Aye.
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 All right.
All right, motion passes. All right, next up is consider the cereal malt beverage license for Bill's on 4th. The address is 2205 South 4th Street, number 2.
Madam Mayor and Commissioners, before you this evening is a request to approve the cereal malt beverage license for the new restaurant, Bill's on 4th, located at 2205 South 4th Street, Suite 2. The owner has submitted the application for an on-premise consumption cereal malt beverage license for their new location. The police department has reviewed and approved the application, so tonight we are here seeking your approval to issue a 2025 on-premise cereal malt beverage license. And with us tonight is Bill himself, so if you have any questions, here I can answer them for you.
What's the deal, Bill?
Trying to get some new restaurants.
Do you still have your bread pudding?
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, that's all I needed to know.
And his fried chicken is good too. So when do you expect to open?
Another 2 or 3 weeks, get everything done.
Good,
See if I can get my.
good. We're glad to see you're, glad to see you're hanging in there.
All right,
Good.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the cereal malt license.
So moved. Second?
All right. I'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengela.
Aye.
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 All right. You're
Thank
good.
you, Bill. Good luck.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate your time.
All right, let's move on to staff reports. First up is our public comment and discussion.
Thank you, Mayor and Commission. So for these next two items, just kind of give you an idea of why they're on the agenda. It was a pretty light agenda tonight, and then our upcoming study session was very heavy. So we thought we'd even things out a little bit. So these staff reports are essentially what we would normally bring to you during a study session. We just thought we'd help out with the timing. So we're not looking for a vote from either of these items tonight. This is really just a discussion. Although, especially with the solid waste discussion, we would appreciate some kind of a consensus because it will impact budgeting moving forward. But the first item, we've had a couple of issues and a couple of you have raised some questions for us regarding public comments during meetings such as tonight and how we address that. As you know, at least since I've been here, we've had a couple of awkward moments where a couple of people speaking have expected some kind of a response from either staff or commissioners, and then there's that awkward silence where we can't respond and they get frustrated. In an attempt to address that, you may have noticed I've asked Mayor, or rewritten the paragraph for Mayor Pittman to read. I won't read the whole paragraph because you've heard it a few times now, but I did add in there, this is an opportunity for the City Commission to hear the thoughts of the public prior to conducting official city business. Mayor, City Commission, and City staff have been asked not to respond to those giving public comment, and no action will be taken by the Commission on public comment items. The rest of that is, it's in between the original paragraph that we've been reading for a couple years now. So if that language sounds good to you all, we can certainly amend that as well, but more specifically, some things that you guys have either asked of us or that members of the public have asked us for you all to consider. Namely, is the 3-minute time limit sufficient for members of the public to provide comment? Many cities that I work for and in other cities have an additional time limit for people representing groups since there's more people represented and we ask only one person come up. Some cities offer extra time if you're speaking on behalf of a group. So this one probably needs the most discussion, or at least the most clarification on. Public comment during items on the current agenda. As you note in our the paragraph that we read, we specifically note items not listed on the agenda. So if something is on tonight's agenda, we don't specifically address when a member of the public may speak on an item that's on the agenda. Except during a public hearing, which is required during the public hearing to provide that moment. So it's really been up to the discretion of mayor and commission when they're going to allow that kind of comment. It may be good to clarify when members of the public can speak on items on the agenda too. And then finally, do you want an official written policy on this or not? As of now, there is no written public comment policy. So if there's if you'd like this put in writing where it's very clear that we can disseminate, we can do that. Otherwise, we can address these items administratively. It's kind of where we want to go with that. I think, did you?
I think.
I'll just add a couple of comments. First, just so you all know, and again, I know this is not the direction you're going in, but there is no legal requirement that you have a public comment section in the first place. And generally, you can regulate public comment in time, place, manner, those types of things. The one thing that, and Scott pointed out in his report that has stood out to me, and I've given a little thought about, is the agenda versus non-agenda items. I have a little bit of concern that distinction could be qualified as a viewpoint restriction or content-based restriction on speech. Such that if you say, basically you're not saying you can speak for X minutes, you can say you can only speak about these topics. So generally my recommendation on something like this would be, a couple different approaches. Either have public comment on whatever you want. Yeah. Or if you're gonna have this specific section as to non-agenda items, then you would probably need to make room for public comment as part of every agenda item you have, so that you aren't creating a situation where you're regulating the content of the speech. So I would, my recommendation would probably be, unless you want to have, except for public hearings, which are kind of different animals, is that you probably get rid of the non-agenda item language on this. And, if there are agenda items that do have hearings, I think it's fair to say these comments will be accepted that part of the budget hearing, for example, a zoning matter. Those are the times for that. But otherwise, I would probably get rid of that restriction in the language, just to avoid that type of argument.
The only concern I have with that is hearing from the public. I mean, we've got something on the agenda. I feel as commissioners, we should be able to, sometimes people will come up with ideas or something they've seen on the internet, and they think it's gonna be this way, and they come up and then say stuff, and that might not be what we're gonna discuss. I mean, we may have already had something else. And I just feel like as a commissioner, I wanna be able to discuss those items on the agenda first.
Well, I'm certainly not saying that you couldn't discuss those items. And perhaps I'm misunderstanding the question. I mean, are you saying that you would prefer, and this is up to you all, on any agenda item, would you like to have public comment on agenda item by agenda item? Because you could do that.
No, not
Or
really.
you could have open public comment, of course, receive that feedback, and then when the agenda item comes up, address the feedback you received, whether that was, this was a misunderstanding that was said earlier, or that was good feedback we got, let's discuss about this now that the agenda item is up. You could take it that way as well, of course.
I feel like if they've come down here to speak, we let them speak about
Yeah,
what's
let
on their
anybody-
mind,
Yeah,
that we hear what they have to say.
yeah, so remove the restriction.
Right.
Yeah, so.
And I don't
would
think
be-
the city has really ever truly really enforced that. It's never been anything, I don't think I've ever seen, where a mayor said.
I think it was a little bit during COVID.
Maybe.
We
Maybe
did
there was a
see
little
that
bit
when
at
I
that
was
point.
mayor.
Yeah, but again, that would probably be the one thing that I would probably recommend, from Scott's items. But, otherwise, I think you do have the general discretion to regulate the time. You have the ability to regulate behavior in some ways it gets rowdy or things like that. You have, protections there that you can do. But a lot of this is up to you this is, a lot about running an efficient meeting.
Yeah.
I think we should keep it flexible too. I don't think we should put it in ordinance.
Yeah, I'm in favor of removing the restriction, then, if a citizen comes down, then, they got 3 minutes to speak, I'm open to hearing whatever their concerns
Yeah,
are.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think the 3-minute limit is good. I mean, I think just anybody can pretty much get a point across in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I've got several thoughts on this. You guys probably know that. Definitely from a policy standpoint, I think we have too many policies already as a city. So definitely not up for another one. But I just think it's important that, looking over this, and I appreciate the outline you did here, Scott. I just think, our number one priority is our residents. We cease to exist without them. And I think definitely I appreciate, David, what you're saying about, maybe taking that restriction out. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's where my head was going. Like, okay, well, I don't want to restrict something that our people can say specifically. If this is, if we're trying to address awkward silence, personally, I signed up for the awkwardness. It's I don't know. I think most of the time, maybe we get 1 or 2 people that show up to meetings, and then we ask people to show up, and when they do, I don't want to restrict them. But I just think, as long as everything, is appropriate, even if, last year somebody was shouting, it's like, bud, they weren't coming up and punching us in the face or anything like that. I just think it's the least we can do is to listen, no matter what it is. If they want to talk about the weather, or something on the agenda, whatever, we owe it to them. And and I think sometimes it's just best judgment on how long things go, and I think we balanced it pretty well. Yeah.
Most people, I'm flexible on time, and I'm fine with giving, if it's a group, giving them more time. I'm fine with all the time stuff. I feel like most people, we rarely go over. Or if they do, they finish up. But I'm flexible for that. But I definitely want people to be able to, if they come here, I want them to be able to speak and say what their
You make
thoughts are.
good points. I will go along with that.
Yeah, sorry, Ed.
I would ask you to clarify one thing.
add to the, and no action will be taken by the commission on public comment items. Not quite true on the surface. We might take action on it next week or the week after, so I would just add a couple of words, or one word, tonight.
If it's not, if it's not on the agenda, we're not taking action on it.
True, but we don't want anybody to get the idea that we're gonna go later on and we're gonna be taking action tonight. It just makes it clear we will not be taking any action on it tonight.
Yeah, we can massage that, in case there are emergency situations, say, action is not expected or something, we can.
Yeah, or we may not
Something
take
like-
action
we
on it
can
tonight.
certainly massage that.
Yeah,
The point is well taken.
And one more thing, and I wasn't sure if you're gonna hit on this, Ed. The other thing is we talk about, one person speaking for a group. I think we have to be careful about that because what constitutes a group? There might be a group of people that feel the same way, but maybe they're not a group. And I don't want to limit 15, 20 people talking because they're perceived as a group, even though they're not. So I just wanna make sure we're careful on that because I think that could be a slippery slope. And I do, I think sometimes we don't have anything to say when there's comments, and sometimes I know for me, I'm guilty of this. Like, I need some time to process certain things I hear. Like, all right, well, let me dwell on that a little bit and think about it. But as long as folks know that, hey, and maybe we have a follow up. I remember asking you in the past, Scott, like, hey, can we follow up on that? Talk about that internally more. So I think as long as people know that we're open to listening to what they have to say, I think that's, I would say everybody's goal. It sounds like so.
Sounds good to me.
So I think I'm hearing a consensus of we remove the items not listed on the agenda and just allow any public comment. And then we don't need a written policy, and we're gonna keep the current time limit requirements as is and everything. And then we'll massage some of that language to clarify some points.
Sounds good.
I'm okay with that.
And possibly something with the group language also that I mentioned, is that,
We can revisit that.
okay, yeah. as long as
We currently,
check
the
it
only
out.
requirement we don't even have a requirement for group language, is we just ask that you only send up one representative. I brought up the suggestion if you wanna add more time or
If
make
it's
it more
just an
official.
ask, then that's
Yeah.
cool.
That's really done more of, that's not like we're gonna prohibit you, it's just a way of, again, running an efficient meeting. That
Yeah.
if you're
No,
all,
that's
if
cool.
you're 20 people here and you're all under citizens for X,
Yeah.
can you send one representative rather than have 20 people all repeat the same?
No, noted. Yeah, I appreciate that.
And that's
Thank
just
you.
more of a practice.
Cool.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, solid waste update discussion.
Yes.
The fun one.
Hey, Brian.
So, as Brian kind of getting set up, he's gonna go over some of the information for you all, and give you some options. I kind of wanted to frame this conversation though, and really I want to really outline where staff feels we stand as it regards to solid waste, in the city. We certainly feel that the current status quo is just not sustainable. We currently have 6 trucks, correct? Is that right? But only 5 of them are operational, is that? If we're lucky. As you may have seen over the last couple of months, we've had weeks where several trucks were broken at the same time and that impacted service. We're currently doing okay staffing wise, but that's on a whim.
That was last week.
Okay, see, there you go. So that fluctuates on a dime. Brian's gonna go over all of this and kind of give you some options that we can decide. We would love for you all to, we don't need a vote tonight, but we would love for you all to kind of give us some guidance on a direction. And over the next course of this year, I would very much appreciate if we could pick a path and commit to it. Because I think once we pick a path, we can't just turn around and go back to the other one.
Right.
So we really need to know what the future of trash is gonna look like in the city of Leavenworth here sooner than we think. So, I'll hand over to you, Brian, I'll participate in this conversation as well, but go on to.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
The city did begin enforcing new regulations, regarding trash back in July of 2023. It's been a year and a half since we got polycarts. These changes occurred after the delivery of the polycarts and per the recommendations of our solid waste advisory committee. that were approved by the city commission. The major changes were, we no longer picked up whole house dumps. That was one of the things that was important for the commission and the committee, is when renters moved out and the landlords put the entire household contents on the curb, that we no longer would pick that up. Residents did receive a polycart, but they could opt out if they chose to. The city no longer provided trash bags. Residents could use both polycarts and bags, as well as just bags. The city would no longer pick up loose items, for example, boxes. And large item pickups would occur on Friday, but there would be a limit of 2 items once a month per property. Despite these changes, on-time residential collection has struggled, as Scott has mentioned. There are weeks when daily pickups are on time, but there have been numerous occasions when the pickup does not occur on the scheduled day. Usually the trash is collected the next day, but there are times when it's delayed even longer. There are a number of factors for these delays, weather being a big factor. When we plow in cars, we also plow in polycarts, so that slows the process down. Holidays combined with snow events hit us this year. Equipment failures, as Scott mentioned, we have 6 trucks in the fleet. There are days when we have multiple trucks that are not working. Trash routes are extremely difficult or hard on our equipment. Our trucks run 10 to 12 hours a day. It's stop and go traffic all around town. Then the highway to Shawnee, a 2-hour round trip, going right back to stop and go traffic, and that's 5 days a week. Staffing issues. At times we don't have enough CDL drivers, but we've got plenty of people to throw trash. And there's times when I have lots of CDL drivers and nobody to throw trash. The majority of the time we are not allowed to use the county's transfer station. They'll say no. And so instead of going just to the south side of Lansing, we drive to Shawnee. Well, we are trying to inform residents of the rules and that there are options such as free First Saturday, our recycling center, our brush site. They can use the county transfer station, and large item Friday pickups. A number of properties haven't got the message. Some truly appear to be unaware of the changes, while others appear to be working the system. Staff is working through these challenges, but it can be difficult. I'm just going to show you some of the examples we have out there. So we say you can put a polycart out and you can put bags.
So they're all lined up?
Polycart and bag.
Okay, wait, do we pick all those up?
The one?
The black,
Yeah.
we picked them all, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was included in the
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, there was no limit put on it.
So what do we pick up here? There's a polycart buried in that. Did we dig through everything to get to the polycart and the bags? If we pick it up, why shouldn't we throw it in the trash truck? Same question here. Then we have some of these that kind of overloaded. We try to push these trash carts out to the truck, attach them to the tipper and dump them. When you have things like this creates issues for us.
It's worth pointing out that there seems to be this perception that anything in the vertical space above a polycart counts as acceptable. But I mean, obviously, there's a limit to what the truck will accept.
So back up one, what did you do? Did you grab those boards and you just take them out by hand instead of using the?
What did you do?
When we line those up to the back of the trash truck, we have to pull those boards out by hand because the bar above it, it won't let us tip it in there.
Yeah.
You know, this is Robert. He's one of our drivers. Been with us for 20 plus years.
26 years.
Oh,
Hi, Robert.
thank you,
Thank
Robert.
you. Yeah, clap, clap.
So that way we have to take the boards out.
So do you wear gloves, I'm sure? Yeah.
They all do,
Nails?
yeah.
Okay.
And as Scott mentioned,
Wow, nothing's in the.
Nothing's in the cart.
and then look at the, okay, so we have vertical airspace here. So what do you do? These are boxes that are not bagged, but they're on or in the polycart. What do? Do we take those off?
What do you do in this case? Take the.
Those right there, the boxes we take off, because when you tilt it back, it falls on top of your head.
Yeah.
And we don't like the residents complaining either.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, this resident spends like every Tuesday night tearing boxes down and bagging them up. So I'm following. So I honestly don't want to hear from anybody, or it's me and my son's doing it, so
Yeah.
I have, anyway.
And our recycle center, I mean.
We take
Well, we
we
take
take
ours to the
ours to the
recycle
recycle center.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the new, I mean, I definitely break down the boxes and take them to the recycle center now, which I didn't before.
Yeah, we do that too.
So as Scott mentioned, we're kind of
Sorry,
looking for a little, you guys to provide some guidance in the next year of how we want to handle our refuge collection moving forward. There's two options for the city. One is the city, keep it as a city service. The other option is to privatize. And so if we keep it as a city service, we could opt for no change. Keep funding and staffing levels at current levels. At this point, staff does not feel we'd really see any difference in the collection. We'd have some weeks it'd be good, we'd have some weeks it would not be. We could keep funding and staffing at the current level, but we could go to bi-weekly collection or limit to poly carts only or a hard bag limit. Or the third part of that would be provide additional staffing and equipment. Maintaining full crews is challenging. Between injuries, sick days, no calls, etc., it's rare that a week goes by where we have adequate staff. We divide the city each day into 4 zones. We try to get 4 trucks on the road. Today we had 4 trucks on the road. We had 4 drivers and 3 throwers total for a while. So that means would the driver get out and
Yeah,
pick
that's
the
what I saw
trash up? I
today.
mean,
We see him do that.
Yeah, I saw him do that today.
the optimum is to have a driver and 2 guys on the back. To do that and to keep 5 trucks on the road running at all times, we keep 1 empty at the shop, so when a truck gets full, he drives back to the shop, drops it off, grabs an empty truck, while someone else drives a full truck down to Shawnee. That way we can stay on the routes. To do what we need to do, we need a minimum of 2 additional trucks and 3 additional staff positions to make this work effectively. Roberta worked through the numbers on this, and the cost impact for this option is an increase in the 2026 rates by 11.3%. Current household rates are $19.89 per month for trash service. That would increase to $22.14, so about a $2.50 increase per month if we were to do that.
How often do you have like the perfect lineup where you've got your drivers and your 2 guys in the back? Like how many
We
days
only
a month?
actually have 11 full-time positions. And so with 4 trucks, we would need 12 to have a driver and 2 people on the back of each truck.
So that never happens.
That never happens. So, and we are down 3 people as of this week. So now we have a staff of 8.
So adding extra trucks and.
You don't have big
position,
staff.
yeah, it's not gonna.
If we had an extra truck without adding additional staffing, it just wouldn't work. So that's why we're saying we would need to do both.
I'm sorry, Brian, and I can't remember what Roberta said before, maybe about this. We wouldn't capitalize trucks for the city?
Capitalize.
Like, we wouldn't look to, bring it on as an asset and depreciate it over a certain amount of time? I mean,
So they're not part of the enterprise fleet management system, if that's what you're asking, but no, we do track the.
but wouldn't we bring it into the capital improvement?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But you're saying it would still be, are you saying, Brian, that 11% plus would be on top of the addition of the trucks? Or?
No, I'd say that if we purchased 2 additional trucks and hired 3 additional staff members, the impact of that rate would be we need to increase the rate to $22.14 a month per household to cover those costs.
Sorry, Brett, I didn't see
you
back
have to
there.
eat out of your CIP.
To answer your question, the rate increase includes buying a trash truck every other year, right? So part of the annual cost of running the refuse fund is replacing trash trucks. So you have to generate enough revenue so that when you need to replace a truck, you can. So that calculation includes buying the 2 additional trucks and then replacing a truck every other year so that you always have it, so as the trucks depreciate and wear out, you're buying a new one.
Okay. I'm sorry, if you guys have any
No, go
questions,
ahead.
I just.
No, keep going.
I've asked, in the past, and I think before we were in between, managers, so sorry, Scott, I don't even think I asked you this. But I've asked a couple different times, not from you, Roberta, but if we could get just kind of some numbers, even talking about privatizing. I'll tell you my biggest concern with that is losing control of costs. And eventually, when we're out of a price lock over 5 or 10 years, I mean, we have no control. We're at the mercy if we don't negotiate the right deal with these folks. But I would love to, I mean, I like the 11% that you threw out here, Brian, at least to give us an idea what that would look like. I would just love to still know what the privatization, piece would be. I see you guy right here, we'd be looking at maybe $24 per household, potentially if we privatize. I never really found out what our options were, for looking at closer disposal, what our options were there. I know when things were coming up earlier last year, we were looking at, other options in the county. Did anything happen with that, do we know, or
Are you talking about
other land to use from the city?
transfer station? So we haven't had internal conversations. There is a property that's in Lansing, but in Leavenworth city limits. It's kind of a weird situation, but it's across the street from the county transfer station, so that would be an ideal spot. Obviously, you would have to coordinate that with the city of Lansing because it's a Lansing road and all of that. But that is, so if we go, that's one of the things we would recommend is if we're going to stay internal, is that we would look into opening that facility on that property as a transfer station. It is away from, I know there's a lot of concern about Abel's Field for that because it's right in that downtown corridor. Main corridor of the city.
Is that it right there?
That's actually the location that we're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's in an industrial area. It is, the property is in the city of Leavenworth, but everything around is in the city of
It's like the
Lansing.
island that we own.
Yeah, it's a little odd. But it has plenty of space. And Chief Kitchens has already carved out his portion for a gun range that we'll discuss someday. But and there's enough for both. But we're anyway. So yes, that would be a necessity if we just decide to keep it internal. Would be to open that transfer station. Driving our trucks to Shawnee every day is incredibly hard on those vehicles, and they already take a beating. It costs us staff time. Not to mention, there's going to be a day where that Shawnee landfill closes sooner than later.
Yeah.
And Brian, can you tell me? Now you called out, back in 2023 when we made the transition to the poly carts. Are you saying that after the poly carts were implemented, we started having some of these issues, or it's just compounded everything with just the way the labor market is right now, or when did you, can you provide maybe more?
The biggest thing I think has been kind of the labor market.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a challenge to hire people and to keep them. I mean, Becky and Robert can talk to it, but we had a very dedicated crew of people, throwers that they really like getting done a little bit early each day because we would allow them to go home if they got done. Some of that drive is left. They're not as interested in that now, I guess I'd say.
Yeah.
Would get people hurt. I mean, like I mentioned, I think 2 weeks ago, we throw 46 tons a day, which is 92,000 pounds these guys are picking up. And they're not all in polycarts. I mean, there's still a lot of bags out there. So the injuries add up. There's just a lot of things that happen, so.
Do we know who the city of Lansing contracts? Oh, you said Waste Management right
Yeah,
there. Okay, okay.
All
Now,
the cities around us have a contract, don't they? Yeah.
but still, was it 2033? They're going to be closing up shop?
But they dispute the numbers that were released. They say that the landfill can last longer. But I think what will happen is they would shut people off like us and keep their own customer base.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the city of Lansing would probably be able to hang on longer with that landfill versus the city of Leavenworth if we're collecting it ourselves.
But no guarantees even for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
How much would it cost to set up a transfer station at that location?
That's actually a number we don't have right now. There's a couple options. We own the property. That we could contract out and build ourselves. And we could run it ourselves, which would require more people. Or we could work it with a private contractor to build it and to manage it, and we would provide them a long-term lease for that. Just a couple of different options.
And the county's still out. That's not it. Take our trash to the county transfer station.
The county, if we signed a contract with the county to bring all of our trash there, they have indicated they'd be willing to do that, but they will not cut us any break on the cost.
Yeah.
And so
It's
right
cheaper.
now,
Everything is negotiable. I will say that right now, right, David? I mean, I would love to look at the option.
like, so right now, it's $38 and some odd cents, I think, a ton to drop in Shawnee. The county is 62 to 64 bucks a ton.
That's ridiculous.
That's a big difference.
So
Yeah.
it would be a significant change.
And they are struggling with the same issues that we're all struggling with, but they're having space management issues too. They're having employee management issues as well. It is very possible that even if we did contract with them to do all of that, we'd be back here in a couple years having the same conversation. So that may not be a great option anyways.
Yeah, well, maybe we bring them on as a customer if we have our own transportation. So, well, I'll tell you what, Roberta, what are your thoughts on how long it would take to put together just maybe some side-by-side numbers? Because I think your thoughts from what you shared before, like, we need to address this soon, and I agree. How long would it take maybe to get a few more numbers put together on what that'd be looking like, short-term, long-term impact?
I'd have to get information from other people.
Yeah.
But as far as building a transfer station, I mean, there's just so many different options.
Sure.
You give me, if I have the information, it doesn't take very long. So it's really about gathering the numbers that, I need to know specifically what you
Right, well,
looking for.
to my point, I guess, maybe instead of, hey, let's maybe look at a rate increase to help limp us by a little bit more, hey, if we're gonna make a drastic change, a positive change, then maybe can we iron it out, 30 to 60 days before we start planning, get all of our budget numbers together for, I don't know, I'm just asking.
So your question is, if we, to do it properly in-house, we'll have to build the transfer station, we'll have to manage the transfer station, we'll need this many trucks, we'll need this many people, the whole
employees.
kit and caboodle,
Right.
if we did it exactly the way we wanted, including a
Well, I mean, I want to defer,
like
that's where I'm going, but I want to defer to the team here. Because my thought is, hey, if we can also show our residents, look, short-term and long-term benefit and why. First of all, waste management closing down potentially, they've already said it, right? I mean, that it could happen. Then we're up a creek and we are looking at $64+ per ton, right, Ryan? So I think it's just something we haven't probably communicated a ton with the public yet because we didn't know what our answer was going to be. But if we could do that, what do you guys think?
Well,
Put
it
it all
does,
together.
the thought of the dump or I guess you call it dump, closing down scares me. I think you're right. Like, we won't be able to control it. Like, we'll be at their mercy. That alarms me.
Yeah, me too.
But it also sounds scary building a transfer station and.
Well, if we did it right, if we
Yeah.
did it the right way, I wonder what it would cost, our citizens, and if we could lock it down then, say, hey, let's do it right, so we're not looking at rate increases every 2 or 3 years, what would that be? And then maybe we put it out to a vote for the public, let them know, but just get every information out to them.
So I would caution and clarify there, doing it right probably does mean rate increases
I was
every
about to
2 or 3
say,
years.
I don't know any ways around that.
Yeah, I don't see how you can get around that.
Well, I think it depends on the plan, what we build in, volumes, what our city's doing, growth wise. I think there's several things you can. I have to work on price protections all the time in my day job, so I think there's things we can look at from maybe a protective rate increases depending on what we're looking at. Like that means the right, compensation structures and everything like that for our staff. I mean, just making sure, like, okay, if we do this now, maybe we buy off, 10 years that we can absorb a few extra things, at least so our residents are gonna know you're gonna be covered. Long-term security. I don't know, these are just thoughts.
But how are we gonna stop this kind of stuff from happening?
Well, so you get more strict on pickup. Part of it is from an administrative perspective, we don't want to be too strict on pickup at the moment because we're aware of the complaints that we get about how we're not picking up
That's the
already.
thing.
And so
Complaints.
it's a chicken and the egg situation, right, or catch-22, however you want to say it. But we don't want to unduly burden residents. And obviously, we are far more, and we'll tell you, so on the weeks that we canceled routes because of snow or whatever, we are far more lenient that following week when we go and pick up because we understand that we canceled it on you.
Yeah.
But, obviously, we're not gonna touch things that are dangerous. We're not gonna touch things that would be a hazard to our vehicles or equipment. But other than that, like Brian has said, you've seen those lines of trash bags, we pick those up. That is an option of, if it's not in the poly cart, but the lid's shut, we're not picking it up. I mean, that is an option. It certainly would save us time and money, but when you get the number of complaints that you all get, and we know that we all get, we know that would cause a lot of issues within the city.
Well, and there are people who maybe limit the number of bags, but there are people who can't use the poly carts, so they have to use the bags, but maybe limit the number of bags or something like that, but.
And you got the people with the bigger families, householders.
I was gonna say, I got 4 kids, I don't line them up like that, but sometimes I gotta lie. So is it fair to say too, Brian, that, again, looking at this 8-year period, 7-8 years, potentially, we don't have an option with waste management, and if we had to privatize then, or we had to make an emergency change, the rates could double, right, what they're paying today?
It's possible, but I mean, we do have a landfill north of Lawrence, it's the Ham landfill, so we have that option. And that's actually where the transfer station currently takes their waste to, is they have, I think it's Ham's trucks that will come and haul that over to that landfill. That landfill is gonna last a lot longer, and so we have that option too. It's hard for us to get to it.
Sure. Do you know what the cost change would be on something like that if we had to use them?
Right now, the cost is pretty much the same. So we actually looked at that 2 years ago, compared Ham to waste management. I think the household trash was more and the special waste was less, and it kind of worked out at the wash at that point.
Gotcha.
Well, I think the mileage is ridiculous. I mean, we shouldn't be putting that much mileage when we're already on our streets. It takes them off the street when they have to go all the way to a transfer station somewhere else. So I really think that's something that needs to be looked at very closely.
And that was the issue. The Ham's landfill is probably the long-term solution, but in order to use it, we need to put the trash on bigger trucks. And so we have fewer trucks going to the landfill. Isn't it a dirt road, a gravel road or something?
It's a 2-lane road, but our concern was, in the wintertime, you're driving on a narrow 2-lane road, versus the highway.
I think that's why the transfer station becomes an important part of this calculation long-term.
Sure.
So we're not driving trash trucks all the way up there.
Well, in addition to what Rick has asked for, Commissioner Martin has asked for, the big picture, how much for all of it, the way we want it, the equipment, personnel, build the transfer station. I think it was you, Brian, that mentioned something about we could look at having a private contractor build it, operate it. We give them a long-term lease. Can we look at finding contractors we can negotiate with to see, okay, what is it going to take for you guys to build it, to operate it, that sort of thing, and compare the two, see which one is going to, give us the least cost, but still the best service to the customers.
So the answer to that is absolutely yes. So I would also point out that when we're asking you to pick a path here this year, that path is a multi-year path, no matter which path you pick.
Sure.
So, we're not gonna be ready to build a transfer station, this year. But once we say, if you guys say, hey, we know that the route is the internal route, well, then staff can go back and say, all right, well, we need to get these plans together. We need to figure out what that transfer station looks like and here's our options on that. We'll bring that back to you guys to make that decision. We say, we need a long-term financing plan and what that rate structure would look like. We would put that together and bring that to you guys to make a decision.
Yeah.
So all of the whole puzzle doesn't need to be solved today or this year. We just need a direction, and then we just need a commitment that once we go in that direction, we're staying on that path. Because it will be far more costly and even more difficult to switch paths once you pick that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to keep it in-house.
Personally, I think it's best to keep it
we want to see what
in-house.
options are
We wanna look
available,
at the
run some
options.
numbers.
Look at the options, yeah.
Look at all the options.
Yeah.
I would love to know what, as a driver, what do you think?
That's,
What do you
this
think?
solution.
Which way? Which way do you think? I mean, you're out there every day. Putting you on the spot.
You are putting
I'm
him
putting you on the spot. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think a transfer
Yeah,
And it would help us out.
sure would.
And I know some of the people at the transfer station that we talk to every once in a while, because we're still friends with them. And, they're wishing that something was built too, that they didn't have all the traffic.
Yeah,
Oh, because they're lined up.
They're in the same
Yeah.
situation we are, they're waiting on trailers.
yeah.
That's why we can't go out there, because
Yeah.
they got their business they have to run, and if we take our trucks out there, it'd take up a whole trailer.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry
you
to
for
put you
your
on the spot,
expertise.
but,
That's all right.
It's good to hear from him.
but I
He's
want to
out
hear
there.
from, you're out there
That was a
today.
good answer.
Yeah.
Well, and you asked the question about recycling the brush side, I think we should keep that no matter what we do.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe one other thing too, I know the county's here, tonight, maybe a little bit of representation. I would love to know, well, what if we had a joint effort with City of Lansing to see, all right, what if we combine resources? What could that mean for everybody financially?
But are they in a
The City of
contract?
Lansing
Yeah, they're in the
contract.
contract, yeah, they're probably.
The
Well, they're-
contract.
Yeah, I'm under contract right now, but just like, hey, if we did something together and we pulled our resources, what could that mean? They're contracting right now with Waste Management, that doesn't mean they have to all the time, but.
So they would have to start out from scratch.
Well, if we had enough resources internally to do that, and if everything was being covered the right way financially, that's what I'm saying. If there were other options out there and
Wow.
maybe we had more strength in numbers, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, but.
I definitely think we keep large item pickup, because if not, there would be couches and chairs
Yeah,
and
they
all
like-
kinds
they
of
like
things
that.
for months until
Excuse
our.
me, Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
it's not a case of there would be. There
There is.
are.
Yeah, there would be there.
And it's hard, I mean, we have to send them a letter, and it's a 6-week process just to get all that moved, so,
When it comes to trash, an educational campaign will only be so effective in the city of Leavenworth because we have such a high rental rate.
Yes.
So we could educate 100%
Right.
of our
Half.
citizens this year, and next year 50% of, not that many, but
No,
next
not
year
even
a
next
large
year.
chunk of them are gonna leave and you're gonna get all new people in there.
right.
So part of it is being able to manage all that administratively, understand we're going to have some complaints no matter what we do, but at least we can be consistent and we can have a more effective service.
Well, and I've been here for 10 years, and trash is the thing that I get the most complaints about. And if people aren't happy, then, it's good to look at some other options. If they aren't happy with what we're doing, we do the best we can with what we can afford.
Right.
And what they can afford, because they're paying for it on their bill.
Yeah.
So
I
it's what
think
they
we
can
improved a lot. I think we
think-
came a long way, and I
Well,
know
I think we
we
have.
can
The
improve.
carts, the poly
Yeah.
carts, I think, have helped a lot.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of, like you used to, big
Yeah.
dumps on the side
Yeah,
of the road.
that's improved a lot.
Whole houses.
Whole houses, yeah.
The whole house.
Question, yeah. Is that, the Solid Waste Advisory Committee, is that still, is it falling apart altogether, or did they
That's just
still?
a task
We
force.
haven't met since the commission adopted their recommendation.
Don't see any reason to bring that back.
No, I'm not suggesting we do, I just wanted to know if we did.
Yeah.
If we still haven't, are they coming in and saying things,
Yeah, they did a great job over the time that they worked on it, and really had some great ideas that we implemented, so.
And we presented privatizations of that group. And they were to a person who was adamant that the city, it was a service they felt the city should keep. They were concerned about, the cost if we went privatization. And, Waste Management's a good company. If they don't pick you up, they may not come back until the following week, but we'll come back the next day.
Yeah, that's true.
They felt strongly about keeping it in-house.
Well, and they can raise their prices on you, and, you don't have any control over that. That's another issue, so.
But I do want to say thank you and your team. You all are doing amazing work. Wintertime, I know summertime is coming up, and I just know I'll have my Powerade, Gatorade, iced tea available for your workers. So I appreciate you all. Thank you all.
And thanks for coming.
So,
Thank you for coming.
yeah, thank you. So to maybe recap then, so we're maybe looking at a longer term plan, for internal transfer station options, see what might make sense, at least enough that we have to work with, and you're still looking for direction still for kind of a budget too, right, Sky?
Yeah, so what we will do, at least from what I'm understanding, the consensus is here, is we'll put together some more numbers, so to speak. We'll put possible rate structure, frameworks, And then we will do some surveys of neighboring communities, how much they're paying, who they charge. We'll put together disposal site options. So to save Roberta's sanity, I will have Trevor do a lot of that, my new assistant too. Finance department will provide some input. If you wouldn't mind giving us a couple months to help with that. 'Cause
for sure.
Finance department's very overburdened at the moment with audit and all that.
Yeah.
Appreciate the info.
But yeah, Trevor, Trevor's itching for a fun project, so.
There it is, trash.
Have him put it together, so.
Where's
He's in
Trevor?
he's in class through the rest of May, and then he'll start coming to meetings, so, yeah.
Okay, we'll need a meeting.
He will be at State of the City though to meet all the guys. Plus, you're always welcome to come in and say hi.
Yeah.
So you'll bring this back to us in a couple months?
Yeah, probably,
Study
I mean,
session.
mid to late summer, whenever we have, it'll be a key part of our budget discussion anyway, so it'll be a good,
Yeah.
segue in there.
You feel like you got the direction?
I feel,
Yep.
I think we do, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
That was a
Thank
good, good discussion.
Thank you guys for coming.
All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Commissioner Martin.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the claims for March 21st, 2025 through April 3rd, 2025 in the amount of $1,712,487.75. Net amount for payroll number 6 effective March 21st, 2025 in the amount of $436,381.39. Includes police and fire pension in the amount of $7,753.58.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hingla.
Aye.
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 All right, now I'll start with Scott. Do you have anything for us this week?
I didn't have anything other than, I guess I received a question about this joint city-county commission meeting. Again, I was not given an agenda. I know we have a representative from the county here tonight. We've identified a couple items that we think would be a good conversation for you all to have that are related to coordination with the city and the county. But I have not been provided a specific agenda.
Okay.
Can we recommend the transfer station being one of the topics?
We can add that to the topic list for sure,
Great.
yes.
Yeah.
And we don't have a date still, right?
We do not. I do apologize. I did send out that date to you guys over the weekend, and then Mayor Pittman reminded me we'll be in DC that day, so that would not be very useful. So I am in conversation with Mark Laughley's assistant on calendar dates, and so we'll figure out a date that works for everybody. Sounds like they're willing to come here so we can host and do the
Video and stuff.
videography and all
That'd
that,
be
so
good.
people can watch and stream and all that.
Perfect.
It did not seem to be an issue from the county's perspective, so,
That's good.
yeah.
Cool.
You have anything else?
That's all I got.
All right.
Okay.
Commissioner Martin?
Have anything on this side? Thank you, though.
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Good. Gonna have surgery on Thursday and
Good luck with
I'll be
surgery.
hobbling
You're gonna
around.
have a
Thank
whole new
you.
knee.
whole new knee. Yep.
Commissioner Hingla?
I hope everything goes well
Thank you,
with your
sir.
surgery, for sure. No, other than that, all I've got to say is thanks very much. I appreciate the fact that a whole lot of people were here, at least in the beginning, and I don't expect everybody to stay. But I've always asked, please, people, come down, see how the sausage is made. It's really quite an event to watch, especially when we got things that, not controversial, but are kind of in-depth, in detail, and everybody's got an opinion. And they're all good. They're all good opinions. So come on down and let us know yours. Thank you.
Commissioner Wilson?
He got the gumbo.
You got the gumbo?
You with the sauce. Hey, God bless you all. Have a great weekend. Love you. We'll be praying for you, Nancy. Definitely hope your surgery goes extremely well. And just love your neighbors. Love your neighbors as Christ loves us. God bless.
Want to invite everybody out there. Next Tuesday is the State of the City. I believe the cutoff for lunch is ended. However, you do not need to buy lunch to come. You can come and network and learn about the city. And we're going to maybe have some few surprises for the community. So please come. It's April 15th. Starting lunch is from 11:30 to noon. We'll probably start the program about 12:15. So we'd love to see the community there. As well as this weekend is our Easter egg hunt for the
Saturday.
city.
Yep.
That will be off 10th Street. What's the 10th and, I don't know the side street.
Is that 10th Avenue Park?
10th Avenue Park. 10th Avenue Park, I don't know.
Richard Warren.
Right past Richard Warren, yeah. So
Past Limit,
please,
yeah.
please come out and celebrate. I think there's 10,000 eggs or something. So Easter Bunny's been very busy stuffing eggs, so please come out and
And that's
Celebrate Easter.
That's at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, right.
As of Friday, we had 50 lunch ticket purchases for our State of the City, so
Okay.
we're pretty excited about it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Can you give us a sneak peek of what's to expect?
No, you gotta come.
Okay, all right.
Like a surprise. So I'm very excited and looking forward to it. So with that, if nothing else, we'll all make a new motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.